Welcome back to Shikina Global News. Today we are here with Father Francis, who accompanies our major Archbishop. So I'm very excited to meet you here, Father Francis, today at the Jubilee Convention. So, Father, what has been your personal experience at the Jubilee Convention so far?
I'm so excited to be here, mainly because nowadays we speak a lot about Global Syro-Malabar Church, the church that was began in India, in one corner of India, Kerala, which has now in the 20th and 21st centuries has spread to all over the world. And in the United States, this church was began in 2001. And when we celebrate 25 years, how it has grown to qualify itself a global church. Why global church? Because if you look at the Syro-Malabar Church, all the people living in Chicago Diocese, there are people coming from all over Kerala, different other parts of India, as well as other parts of the world. And they all have come here and they have found home in the Chicago Diocese. And they have tried to be growing as a community, building up a lot of different activities, also building different churches, and they feel proud of being Syro-Malabar Catholic, and they celebrate it during this Jubilee. So to see how it has begun, the difficulties they have faced, now being proud of that and celebrating it, and I'm so happy to be part of it.
That sounds absolutely amazing, Acha. Also, Acha, what is the message that you have for all of our younger generations, especially we have so many youth here today present at the Jubilee Convention. So what's your message for them to grow stronger in their faith and be bold about themselves as Catholics, specifically Syro-Malabar Catholics?
I have two perspectives with regard to this. One, Syro-Malabar Church is one of the first churches founded by the apostles. Apostle Thomas came to India and he gave a margam, a way of Jesus in his style in India. And naturally, we have taken that Indian mark or mark of the way of Jesus given in the form of, by Apostle Thomas, and got rooted in India, which is an oriental land. So we have a lot of great values existing in India. So with that, we developed a church. Now, when it comes to America, different world altogether, this church has a lot to give to America. Who will do that? The next generation, the second, third generations of the Syro-Malabar faithful who are born and brought up here. So, without destroying the roots, without destroying the heritage and patrimony of this church, which are liturgy, theology, spirituality, discipline, family traditions, etc., etc., we need to think about getting assimilated to this culture, which will naturally form a global church. I would like to explain. This is the second part of the thought that I wanted to share, because we are an evangelizing church, a church that is evangelizing. How will we do that? We will do that by being here, living our tradition, at the same time giving and sharing, transmitting that tradition to the people around here. Here you have whites, you have blacks, you have people from different nationalities, different religions. So give convincingly Jesus and the spirituality that was given by Jesus to everyone. And they also find home in the Syro-Malabar Global Church. So therefore, the first and foremost thing is the second and third generation, they need to be rooted in the Syro-Malabar life, and they need to be able to share it with others, transmit to the next generations, and make a great church that was born in India, but now getting spread all over the world.
Today we are here with Father Matthew, who is one of the recently newly ordained priests of the Syro-Malabar Diocese of Chicago, and we're so happy to have him here at the Syro-Malabar Jubilee Convention. So, Acha, question for you. What inspired you to become a priest?
The faith that I grew up with was like really inspiring, and but I was never thinking about priesthood. And one day after one of the mass on Sundays while I was working in Albany. I had this inspiration in my heart, the Lord asking me, "Can you be a priest?" And my immediate response was like, "No way, Jesus, that's not what we talked about." But then that opened up something in my heart, and then I started to ponder over that, pray over that, share with some people about that, and I started to notice that the Lord wants to fulfill a deeper desire of my heart for a family, for children in a totally different way. And I started to like follow that. There were challenges in my way, thinking about a lot of practical things, but the Lord always assured me in prayer that He'll be with me as He has always been with me. And with that assurance and with that strength, I was like, I'll go forward. And each step of the way, He was with me. And thankfully, thanks be to God, I got ordained a priest last month, and it's been such a joy already, and looking forward to all the joys of priesthood.
Praise God, that's amazing. Also, Acha, what is the message that today, especially we are here at the Jubilee Convention, what is the message that you hope people take away, and especially our youth, what do you hope that they take away from this convention and bring back to their own parishes and their own homes?
Follow joy and purpose. We all want to be joyful. We all want to be happy. Um, we want to live a purposeful life, right? We don't want to live a meaningless life, but follow joy and follow purpose. And faith gives us such a deep and beautiful background and foundation for that, and to live. Because Jesus said, "I've come to give you joy, and joy in its fullness." And joy is never going to be taken away if we follow Jesus and live out our faith. And it also gives us deep purpose to have a trajectory, have a direction for our life, and to make so much impact for the world. And we are all called to transform the world. So, especially at this convention, this is like a good milestone. 25 years of Syro-Malabar Church being here. Now it's a time for us to recalibrate and think like how the Lord has blessed us. Now where we are going, live a life of joy and faith in this day, in this culture, and so that we can also create an impact in this world and transform the world into the kingdom of God that the Lord has envisioned for us. So I think that'll be a beautiful way for us to go as a church together.
Today we have with us Father Rajeev. I usually recognize him as a marriage priest because he posts a lot of stuff on marriage. So today I'm really glad to interview you, Father. And can you tell me a little bit about yourself? Were you born and brought up in the U.S.? What was your background? How did you end up becoming a priest?
Yeah, I was born and raised in Tampa, Florida. My parents migrated to the United States in the late 1980s. And I now am a priest, praise be to God, 8 years, a priest for the St. Thomas Syro-Malabar Eparchy, Chicago, and currently serving in North Carolina, in Charlotte.
Okay, how come you decided to pursue priesthood? Because you are in the U.S., so the world is your oyster. Why did you decide to become a priest?
Well, praise be to God that my parents gave me the greatest gift, and that is the faith. And I grew up in the church, both in the Roman Catholic Church, but also very much in the Syro-Malabar Church. And as I was especially being nurtured and formed in the church, it made sense at some point in personal relationship with the Lord to ask the question, Lord, what do you want me to do with my life? And I felt with an overwhelming sense of peace that it made sense to take the first step and go to seminary. And after several years of seminary formation, when Bishop Jacob Ungardi ordained me, it was clear, right, that this is what I'm called, especially as he was calling me, Acha, our Father, for the first time. And so it's really through a journey that I came to understand that this is what God has called me to do.
The world is becoming increasingly secular. It's not a U.S. specific problem. It's the case everywhere. And the youth, they sometimes they are hesitant to listen to the voice of the Lord. Sometimes they don't even think about the otherworldly things, the spiritual aspects. So what do you think that the church as a whole can do to nurture that spirituality of the young adults?
I think we just got to encourage our young people to get back to the basics, Nothing substitutes prayer. Nothing substitutes going to Holy Qurbana, Holy Mass, spending time in adoration, just being able to, in a certain sense, rediscover the great tradition that we have. And the more we allow ourselves to tap into that, we will be able to hear the voice of God and to be able to respond to something that's much greater than what the world presents.
Can I ask something personal?
Yeah, go for it.
Okay. So, Father, what is your one deep desire for the church and for yourself as a priest? Like, what do you want to see happen in the Syro-Malabar Church in the coming years?
My hope for the Syro-Malabar Church is that the church will be vibrant, that the church will be missionary. I think for the past 25 years, naturally, we have thought a lot about our own community. We've been trying to establish our roots. But I believe that we will slowly lose our roots if we're not focused on bearing fruits.
Okay.
And so we have to be able to embrace other people. We have to know that we have a greater calling than to build big houses, to buy nice cars. But it is more than that. It is to be able to lay greater foundations in this country of faith. There's already a good foundation that's there, but we know that with the influences of secularism and even the good and the bad of media, right, there is a real battle to be fought. And I hope that our church will be part of that battle, especially taking this role of being a missionary very seriously.
One more question. You
Sure.
are a person of Indian descent living in the US. So when you
Yes.
say we want to hold on to that roots, what do you mean by that?
That's a good question. Fundamentally, the most important part of being Indian should be where the Indian culture has embraced Christ. And there are a lot of beautiful things about our culture, things like food, things like our dress, which I believe are good, in embracing culture. But if there's anything of culture that does not allow ourselves to embrace Christ, then I think it needs to be disregarded.
Yeah.
And so American culture is a melting pot of so many cultures, but what sticks over time is what is everlasting.
Yes.
And so there are some things of Indian culture that are beautiful and they are nice to see, but we have to be able to look deeper. Our perenals and all these things can still be there. Butugorda, all these things, great. But we have to make sure that what we're truly holding on to is what is everlasting. And that ultimately has to be what conforms to Christ.
And what is your favorite thing about the Syro-Malabar Church?
What I love about the Syro-Malabar Church, though, I say that, like we have to think seriously about what it is that we're holding on to. There is a beauty. Externally, we can see that. A lot of times when Americans who are not familiar with the Eastern Catholic culture see our church, they say there's a lot of color.
Yeah.
Right? And so it's true. I love that about our church, that we do have a lot of color. My hope and prayer is that even we can see it peripherally exist, but internally it exists too, and it does.
Yeah.
There's a lot of color in our liturgy.
Yeah.
There's a lot of color in the spirituality that we have. We just got to be more intentional about knowing and seeing that
Yes.
color, opening our eyes.
Yeah.
Right. The theme of this convention is we walk by faith and not by
That's
sight.
right.
So being able to really see the color that exists, not just externally, but also very much internally.
Hey everyone, I'm with Father Melvin Paul, the director of the Diocese Youth Apostolate. Melvin, how's your experience been at the Jubilee Convention thus far?
Chris, thanks for asking. I've been having a wonderful time. It's been a little stressful and a little lack of sleep, but at the same time, it's been a beautiful experience with the Qurbanas, with the speakers, and just seeing the people of God at this Syro-Malabar Church. We're ready to build missionaries in this Syro-Malabar Church.
That's awesome. It's beautiful to hear. Next question I got for you is, how does it feel being one of the youngest priests brought up here in this diocese and leading this youth?
It's definitely an honor. I am grateful to the Lord himself for calling me. I had resistance to the Syro Church, but a lot of just prayer and talking to so many elders and leaders and good clergy in the Syro-Malabar Church, where I felt this was a home, and I have a mission here to be able to teach, to preach, to sanctify, and to have a good time.